So, Jeff, I'm sure a lot of people have been reaching out to you as you approach this 30th anniversary of your Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 25. We'll get into the details a little bit, but what do you remember most fondly about leading the New York Giants to that Super Bowl?
Well, there's quite a few memories from that game. Starting off, just waiting to be introduced in the tunnel, and looking out there and just seeing the stadium just completely filled, and all the fans all had the red, white, and blue flags, and they were just all waving those, and just knowing that this was being telecast worldwide, and what a huge game it was. And here I was, just about to step out onto the field, and then to run out there in front, and then have Whitney Houston sing the Star Spangled Banner, and then have the flyover afterwards. That's one of the greatest memories I'll ever have as far as my professional career.
And, not many people aside from the West Virginia community knew who Jeff Hostetler was probably before, you lead the New York Giants to the Super Bowl because you hadn't been starting until Phil Sim got hurt. And you wait, all these years, you wait your turn, and then you get to start in the Super Bowl. How much sweeter did it make that victory knowing the journey that you had been through to get there?
Well, 6.5 years, that's what I waited. So what were you doing 6.5 ago? That's a long, long time. And not a whole lot of people know that 6 weeks earlier, I had come home after practice and sat at the dinner table with my wife. And I decided that that was it. I'd had enough. I was frustrated. The opportunities just hadn't come along. And, there wasn't free agency at that time. So I was stuck. And we decided right then and there at our table that at the end of the season, I was going to retire. But 6 weeks later, Lord had different plans for me. And I was standing in the locker room with two sons in my hands, in my arms, my pregnant wife beside me, having just won the Super Bowl. So, it was a great experience. It was a great 6 week run, and it started the ball rolling on my career.
So I was talking to a few people that actually have recollection of your Super Bowl before I was preparing for this interview, and they were saying that you got gypped of the MVP. Do you hold on to that salt just a little bit? Although, of course, you're probably friends with Otis Anderson, but do you think that you should have been the MVP of that game?
You know, all I was concerned about was winning the game, and having won that game, having been a starting quarterback and won a Super Bowl, especially when I was the least experienced quarterback to ever take the field as far as a starter in the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl is not kind to a lot of quarterbacks, and to be able to play really well, to win the game, to be part of it, that's all that counts. So I'll let everybody else talk about MVPs and things like that. I was just so fortunate and so glad to have won that game and sit at home here with a couple rings in my hands.
And you mentioned just wanting to win, not winning MVP. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady are probably thinking the same thing right now. But what do you think of this matchup coming up between the two, kind of old style versus new school? How much has the quarterback position changed since you were in the league?
It's changed dramatically. I mean, it's number one. They allow you to do a lot more things at the line of scrimmage, which is awesome because you're a guy that knows what's going on, and you're able to change plays, do some things at the line of scrimmage, make some calls. Whenever you see something, go ahead and react. So number one, that's a great thing. It's changed the game as far as the quarterback position. It also they protect the quarterback. When I was playing, they allowed the defensive guys 2 full steps after you threw the ball to go ahead then and make contact with you. So that's a long time. Now they protect you. And I think that's been good for the game because it keeps guys healthier. It keeps their starting quarterbacks in and makes for a better offensive show. So it'll be interesting to see, old school versus new school. I don't know whether, there's an advantage either way. Tom Brady's been there. He's done some amazing things. He's working on number 7. If he accomplishes that, that's it's almost unthinkable. It is unthinkable how you could get to that many Super Bowls and actually win that many. But Mahomes is in a great offense. He's got talent all over the place. He's got a great coach, and he's a phenomenal player. So it'll be an interesting night.
So you're saying that there were not many roughing the passer calls in Super Bowl 25?
No, I think if you went back and watched Super Bowl 25 and you put that in today's game, probably half the Buffalo Bills defensive line would have been thrown out of the game. It was a different ball game. You know, it was a much more physical game for quarterbacks at the time. And you know, that's just how the game was. It's how it's progressed. And you know, Tom Brady's 43 years old, I think. I think if he were playing how it used to be, I don't think you can make that many years. And I think the league realized that. You got to be in order to make that many years and remain healthy. There's a lot of hard work involved with that, but there's also a little bit of luck. And I think the league, you know, turned things around and realized they got to protect the quarterback, even though sometimes it seems like it's overprotective.
And that brings me to another question. Do you think that your style of play could make it in today's league reverse?
Well, I'd have loved to have played today because I was a mobile quarterback and would love to move around in the pocket and throw the ball on the run, do some things physically. So of today's game, but you know, to compare back then and here, that was just the style that we played in. You know, I was with the Giants, and we were a very physical football team, both defensively and offensively. So we were going to have a mix of run and pass, and we were going to, you know, try to tell you, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. We didn't have a whole lot of plays, and we just wanted to execute our plays. So it wasn't like they didn't know what we were going to do. We were going to just out physical you, and that was what we were as a Giant team.
And I mean, you develop that physical mentality, obviously playing at West Virginia. And looking back at some of your most memorable games, obviously your first start at Oklahoma, the big Pitt win, 3-point win when you were ranked number 7. What's your favorite memory as a Mountaineer, or any of those games at the top of that list?
Well, I'd have to say, you know, having opening with Oklahoma out in Oklahoma, it was a sea of red, and it was 113, I think, on the field, something like that. And we were such underdogs that we were supposed to kill their horse because it was going to die of exhaustion from running around the field all the times after they scored. So, you know, we had a lot of things to prove. I personally had a lot of things to prove. And I think to start my career out with a big win out in Oklahoma will always be a real fond memory. But always beating Pitt is a great memory. So there are quite a few things. I love my time here. I'm an adopted West Virginian. I love the state. I love the people. I played in front of all these people, and they are just awesome. And I'm just so glad to have always been part of the Mountaineer family.
I mean, you loved it so much that now you made Morgantown your home. How did you, you know, after you retired, settle on Morgantown being the place now that you call home and you raise your family?
Well, we could have lived anywhere. We were on both coasts at different times, and we lived in some really beautiful places. But to raise a family, we felt like this was the place to be. I love Morgantown. I love the state of West Virginia. I love the people, and we just wanted to be part of it. So you know, we had roots here. Of course, I married the coach's daughter, and you know, it took a lot of guts to go ahead and do that. There were a lot of guys that didn't want to take that chance. I did, and here 37 years later, we're still going at it.
So did your relationship start when coach was still coaching you, or when did that start? And how did you work that dynamic of coach, quarterback, dating the daughter, all that? It seems very complicated.
Yeah, well, he's always been, he's still my coach. That's what I call him. I call him coach. So he's a great man. He's a great grandfather. He's a great father-in-law. He's a great father. And I was just fortunate to be able to be coached by him. And, he's brought a lot of players through West Virginia. And you'll probably, 99.9% of those players would come back and tell you what a great man he was as far as coaching, but as a man towards them and how he treated them. So I was fortunate to be able to call Coach Nealon coach and father-in-law and grandfather for my kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's obvious that that played a factor in you moving back to Morgantown was the fact that, they were from here and they had been here. Um, your Haas Foundation, when did that get started, and what kind of projects are you up to right now?
Well, we started the Haas Foundation after we won the Super Bowl in 1991. And I have three sons and almost lost all three at in different ways. My oldest son had a heart issue, and he had four major surgeries before he was 5 months old. I almost lost my second at childbirth, and my third was 8 years old and was hurt in a ATV accident and was paralyzed from the neck down. And he would all three of my sons are miracles, and we just knew how difficult it was as a family to go through some of those traumatic times, life and death situations. And so we started our foundation to try to help families that are struggling with those things. And right now we are involved with our WVU Medicine Children's Hospital. It's a brand new children's hospital, and we're doing some things on the top floor of that hospital that kind of ties our athletes, our Mountaineer athletes, to our hospital and our kids. So it's called the I Am a Mountaineer floor. And I'm trying to grab as many of our former athletes, men's and women's sports, to come together to financially support us here and build this floor. And it's going to be in a locker room theme. It's going to be awesome. And we're going to be able to help our families with the different resources that they need during this time so they can concentrate on their child at this tough time. So yeah, all my teammates and former athletes, men's and women's sports, I'd love for you all to join us, and let's do something that's never been done before. It's never been done. A group of athletes from one school come together and put a floor on a brand new hospital overlooking our stadium. And it's going to be special, and we can do some things and have an impact on our families.
I know that, when the football team always goes to each game, then they give a little wave to Medicine Children's. How do you think your foundation has helped, keep that tie between the football team and the hospital together?
Well, we started that out with Coach Holgerson, and working with Coach Holgerson. He was real receptive to our Haas Foundation. We had a couple of events called Walk the Talk, and he was real involved with that. And we raised money there to go ahead and try to help our families. We have a resource center in the hospital. So, Coach Holgerson kind of started that thing, and we worked on getting our kids together in a room so that they could see all the players come in, and they started the wave at that time. And Coach Brown has continued to do that, which is awesome because it's a huge impact for our kids and our families that are going through these things that are really, really tough and sometimes life and death. Just to see a smile put on their face in a difficult situation is awesome. And our athletes can do that. We've got our kids and our families, they look up to these athletes, and for them to take the time, turn around, wave, or come up and visit and spend some time with our kids is pretty awesome.
And I feel like that connection between Medicine Children's and WVU is kind of an underrated part of being a Mountaineer, because I feel like a lot of people who outside the community don't know about it, but I think it's such an important part. For you, you've played in the system, you came back, and now you're living in Morgantown. For you, what does it mean to be a Mountaineer?
Well, this is what it means. I want to start a legacy here, and we have Coach Nealon started out when he got here. Him and Mac, his wife, both recognized the importance between our athletes and our children's hospital, and they started doing things during the spring game. And I spent a lot of time up in the hospital going and visiting kids and their families when I played here. And other athletes are doing that, and they're doing that now. And it's such a time to come and see and put things in perspective, because as an athlete, you get there and you're thinking everything is involved with and revolves around how I perform out on the field. And that interception or that fumble or that missed tackle really gets put in perspective when you go up there and you see some of the kids and what they're going through. And reverse wise, those kids do some amazing things to us when we walk in there. They show us what bravery is and courage and toughness is, and they put things in perspective for us as athletes. So as a mountaineer, that's what I think it is. I think it's being tough minded, but also being there for our families and our kids. We love our state, we love our fans, we love our athletes. So let's all join them together.
And to bring us full circle a little bit, that toughness that you mentioned that you were ingrained in you at West Virginia, how do you think that helped you, sit for 6.5 years before you got your shining moment in the NFL with the Super Bowl?
Well, I tell you, I grew up in a really strong Christian family, and had mom and dad that always used to tell me when I walked out at night, when I was going out with my friends, remember who you are and whose you are. And always put me, oh, mom, don't say that to me. I might want to go do something that I don't want you to know about. But it was one of those things growing up in a real strong knit family. And knowing that I grew up on a farm, we had 18,000 chickens and dairy cows. Everything goes wrong on a farm. My dad never quit. And so for me, it was kind of ingrained in us. I was one of 7 kids, and I realized that, good things, great things don't come easily. And sometimes the road's rocky. But sometimes you just got to keep plugging away, plowing through like my dad used to do. And you never know what's right around the corner. And 6.5 years, I said to myself, I think it's done. I'm done. And 6 weeks later, I've won a Super Bowl. So I just encourage everybody out there, when you're going through some tough times, there are great things right around the corner. You just got to keep plugging away.
I mean, talk about perspective right there. My last thing is, where are the 2 Super Bowl rings and how often do you wear them?
Well, I never wear them. They don't fit anymore. And but I just had them out today. Just with a friend of mine. He just wanted to look at them, use them, and they make their rounds. I like to take them up to the hospital and let the kids put them on, and it's pretty special to have one of those. That's what everybody does. That plays in the NFL. That's what they want. They want that ring. And I was fortunate enough to have 2 Super Bowl rings in my 15-year career, and the last one being the one that I started, Super Bowl 25. So I like to share those with kids, with their families, and it's proud. It's a proud moment for me, but it's also the ability to share with my Mountaineer family.
I have to tell you, I'm a big ring girl. So if I had a Super Bowl ring, I would probably wear it once a week. um,
Well, when I see you, I'll bring that thing and let you put it on. All right,
Sounds good, Jeff. I appreciate it.
it'll look good.
I'm sure it will.